What is going on, fellow fans of mobile gaming? It is your host, Galadon. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. And hey, before you forget, do me a favor. If you could, drop down, hit that subscribe button, get ready. I've got more exciting gaming news coming very, very soon. I think you know what I'm talking about. Major updates to significant mobile games. Now, today, kind of a little bit of a different episode. We're talking about the 5 reasons in-game gems exist and why they have such odd values. Now, we'll get into the values in just a minute. Now, obviously, right off the top, we know in-app purchases are what keep these games available. That's how the developers make their money. That's why we get to continue to play them. Many of us are free to play, and obviously we're counting on other players to make those purchases so that the revenue keeps paying the developers who keep making updates for us. And of course, Supercell, one of the most successful mobile gaming companies in the world. Although, according to PocketGamer.biz, they're not even in the top 5 of mobile gaming developers. You've got Epic, Tencent, who of course developed Arena of Valor and owns a piece of Epic and Supercell, NetEase, King Games, Netmarble, Roblox, and Supercell comes in 7th. Okay, so let's get back into these 5 reasons. First of all, we're talking about why do they have gems at all? Let's just take a for instance here. I've got my Town Hall 6. I am ready to go to Town Hall 7, but I don't have enough gold. It's going to cost me 1.2 million gold. Why not have it be $2.99? It would be easier. I would know how much it costs and I could upgrade it, or make me buy the gold. I'll buy the gold, but instead of gems, make it $2.99 to buy the gold. Why doesn't that happen? Well, this is the easiest one to explain, and it has to do with processing fees. Google Play, iTunes charge a processing fee on a credit card, or credit card companies do, every single time a credit or debit card is used. So by purchasing gems, you are able to make multiple purchases in the game for just one transaction fee. But that does not explain why gems are such an odd number. And what I mean is, you will find this in just about every game you look at, and I will show a bunch of different games today on the screen, but check out the gems. $99 for 14,000 gems. Why not make it $100 for 100 gems? Or let's say it's $100 for 1,000 gems or 10,000 gems, so that you know that each gem is worth a penny or 10 cents or $1. And that takes us to number 2 on our list. And let's just be blunt about this. I'm going to put this very plainly, and that is that game developers want you to be confused as to the value of a gem. They don't want you to equate a gem with $1 or a gem with 10 cents or even a penny, because then it's too easy to go, all right, this upgrade is going to cost me $5 or $50. And that gives it too much reality. And that is part of reason number 3. And that is that game developers don't want you to feel like you're spending real money directly in the game. If you think about it, you're purchasing resources with gems. You've purchased gems with real money. So now you are 2 steps away from actually handing out dollar bills for in-game items or in-game defenses or troops in Clash of Clans, because you've purchased the gems with cash and then you've purchased the resources with the gems. And that is a psychological trick that helps make it easier for players, for consumers, to spend money on mobile games without feeling like, oh, you know, this is $16.67. I don't want to spend that much right now, and maybe they back out of the purchase. Now, reason number 4, there are so many gems per dollar in the average game, comes down to, and this is more of a practical point right here, there is value implied because you get a ton of gems and it seems like a lot, but we're specifically talking about the divisibility of the gems, meaning that if a gem were $1, would you want to pay $1 to finish producing that spell that only had a minute to go because you were in a hurry to get somewhere? No, you'd much rather spend 1 gem or 2 gems or 3 gems. So they break it down so that each dollar buys you many, many, many gems, and then you can make these very small purchases, incremental purchases in the game that don't cost you a great deal. You've bought a big package of gems, and you're just using a small percentage of that package each time. And that takes us to reason number 5, and that is leftovers. And what I mean here, and this is another marketing ploy, the idea that you're purchasing 500 or 1,000 or 2,500 or 14,000 gems at a time most of the time when you make an in-game purchase using those gems, you're only going to use up a percentage of those gems, and you will be left with what is known as orphaned gems. Gems where you've got them left over. Maybe you wanted something specific in the game. You wanted to finish that level 6 P.E.K.K.A upgrade or that level 12 Archer Queen upgrade. And you did. You bought gems to buy the time or the resources, but suddenly you're left with a few gems. What do you do with those gems? Well, you might need them to buy something else in the future. They're already there. It makes you part of the way to accomplishing that goal of being able to purchase the next upgrade. But guess what? Now you have to go out and buy more gems. And let's say you've got almost the number of gems you need for that next purchase, but you don't quite have enough gems. You've got to go back to the shop and buy gems. And now, think about this one. You're never going to be able to buy the exact number of gems you need for that next upgrade. Think of it like this. You bought a bottle of shampoo. You've used that bottle of shampoo down to about 20%. And you can't get the 20% of the shampoo out of that bottle unless you buy another bottle of shampoo. Now, it can be a smaller bottle. It could be the little tiny bottle of shampoo, but you'll never get that last bit out of the big bottle unless you buy another bottle of the same shampoo. That is the idea behind the sales of these gems. You have to buy even more gems in order to use the gems that you still have. Thus, it creates this cycle where players may end up spending more and more on the mobile games. Now, again, these 5 reasons run true through all of these different games that I'm showing on the screen today, from Clash Royale, any of the Supercell game, pretty much any mobile game is going to have this aspect to it. Even Command and Conquer, the brand new one that's just about to come out, Brawl Stars, of course, although the gems are a different value, you'll notice, from game to game as well, because if it were an industry-wide standard, then again, you'd run into the same problem where players would see that a gem is worth a certain amount, and if it were worth the same amount in every game, then people would get smarter and know exactly how much they're spending, rather than it being an ambiguous amount. Now, if you really want to dig a little bit deeper into this subject, let me tell you, there are some really interesting research papers, books, articles, blogs written about this. Mark Griffith, he is the director of the International Gaming Research Unit. He has some amazing articles you can find online. Also, Mike Rose wrote an article talking about chasing the whale, examining the ethics of free-to-play games. And then you've got Chris Anderson, 2009, a book called Free, The Future of a Radical Price. And then there's a great article on the top free-to-play monetization tricks written by an author named Ramin Shokrazad. And these guys, I've read all of these, and I tell you, it is really interesting how far you can go in researching these things to figure out consumer habits and to maximize revenue for a mobile game. You can look into things like, look at how many games have boosters, boxes, chests. Like in Clash Royale, you've got this slight element, although not exactly, of gambling. You do not know exactly what is in that chest. Oftentimes the chests are bought, again, with gems, so you don't even know exactly how much you're spending, and you know you could get something really cool or something really powerful that is going to help you win more in the game. And that is where that fine line about pay to win comes into effect. Now, games like Clash Royale and Command & Conquer Rivals by EA have done a great job of drawing a line and keeping the games from becoming completely pay to win. You've got tournament standards in Clash Royale where a free-to-play player could get there and compete at the highest levels in the game for tens of thousands of dollars in cash prizes in these esports tournaments without ever having spent a penny on the game. The same is true in Command & Conquer Rivals. They have troop level limits in leagues so that if you're in a specific league, you know you'll never have to face a player that has over-leveled cards. And these things make a huge difference in these games. They keep players engaged, they keep players coming back, and that is why you always will see that balance between the free-to-play and the pay-to-win in almost every game. There are some games out there where pay to win outright gives you a huge advantage. You can look at games like, Game of War is probably the most famous, where if you just spend, you will be able to go out and crush your opponents. And that is where these certain games have focused on the whales, Whereas Clash of Clans and games like that have succeeded not by harpooning whales, but by netting millions of minnows. All right, just do the math on that one. If you've got 1,000 players that spend $1,000 each versus 10 million players that spend $2 each, yeah, you get the picture. All right, so that's going to wrap up the episode. I don't know, you guys. I just thought this was some interesting information to share with you across all mobile gaming platforms. Now we know a little bit more why gems cost what they do, and the fact that this is never going to go away. Microtransactions are why mobile games work and why we will be playing them for years and years to come. As always, you guys, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for sticking around all the way to the end of the episode. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and get ready for more early and accurate update information. Get out there, have a fantastic day. Be kind to each other, be kind to animals, and I hope to see you all back here again tomorrow for more Full Attacks.
Galadon, 11 minutes about gyms and not a single mention of a gym box. Ridiculous!